There are increasingly researchers who are trying to tackle problems of importance in Malawi, which is one of the poorest countries in the world, and in South Africa, which is one of the most unequal. But that doesn't mean that the people who need that information to make decisions have access to it or can make sense of it. I'm Ruth Stewart, and I lead a programme at the University of Johannesburg called BCURE. That stands for Building Capacity to Use Research Evidence. We're working to enable the governments of Malawi and South Africa to make better use of evidence in their decision making.
My background is in research, and one of the things that have always frustrated me in the research field is that research sits on shelves and don't get used. You know what the findings are, you know how government can make things better, and then you find your way you're driving home from work. And you're listening on the radio and someone phones in with a particular service delivery problem or a particular policy problem and you've just done this. And the problem keeps resurfacing and you know what the evidence says, you know what the answer is, but it's not being incorporated. I think that there are many reasons why policymakers don't use evidence as we would like evidence to be used.
First one, of course, is that decisions are made based on a political agenda. The second one is resource limitations. We don't have an infinite pool of resources, so we must be able to start using our resources efficiently.
One of the key reasons for promoting evidence-informed decision-making is to avoid waste, to avoid spending money on services that aren't going to work. So it's particularly important where resources are scarce to consider the research evidence and make those decisions, not waste those limited resources.
Also, policymakers' access to information and the complexity of assessing the quality of research and synthesizing that into answering one specific policy question. The fourth factor is the timeliness of information, because policymakers or decision makers might need an answer now, but research studies have not been conducted or take 2 or 3 years to conduct. So I jumped at the opportunity of becoming involved in the UJ-BCURE that has the aim of enabling policymakers and building their capacity to use the research in their day-to-day work.
One of our big hopes for UJ-BCURE is that we will build lasting bridges between research communities and government communities, decision-making communities, so that researchers don't continue to produce research that sits on shelves and decision-makers don't continue to ignore what seems very irrelevant to them, so that we can bring those two communities to work more closely together.